Look, I've met a lot of tough crews in my day. I've worked with welders thousands of feet in the air. I've crawled through sewers with guys who haven't seen daylight in hours. They all have a bond, an unspoken trust when the stakes get high. But I've never heard of a crew quite like this one. A group of 12 regular guys, handpicked for a job that was the toughest, the dirtiest, and the most world-changing. They weren't scholars, they weren't kings. They were fishermen, tax collectors, political hotheads, flawed, rough around the edges, about to embark on an adventure that would echo for thousands of years. And it started with one simple invitation: follow me. First up, you have the guys who formed the core of the crew, the ones who seemed to be in the middle of every major event. Let's start with Simon, the man Jesus would later call Peter. This guy was a fisherman, tough as nails. Probably smelled like fish all the time. He was impulsive, loud, he spoke his mind, not because he was the smartest, but because he was all heart and all action. Then there was Peter's brother, Andrew. If Peter was the thunder, Andrew was the quiet, steady current. He ran to get his brother. We have found the Messiah. Next, James and John, sons of Zebedee. Jesus nicknamed them Sons of Thunder. Jesus walked up while they were casting nets, mending lines, sorting fish, and gave them a new one. Follow me, he said, and I will make you fishers of men. And in a moment that defies modern logic, they just did. They dropped their nets, left their boats, walked away from the only life they'd known. Now if you want to talk about a crew with some internal tension, look no further than Matthew and Simon the Zealot. Tax collectors worked for the Roman occupiers, infamous for corruption and extortion. The Zealots were fierce nationalists who despised Rome and believed in using violence if necessary. Jesus sees Matthew at his tax booth and says two words: follow me. Later, Matthew throws a huge party, inviting tax collectors and sinners. Jesus wasn't just associating with the outcast, he was actively recruiting him. In this same small group you have Matthew, the ex-Roman collaborator, and Simon, the anti-Roman revolutionary. Under any other circumstances they'd be at each other's throats, yet here they are, traveling together. Jesus didn't just build a team, he forged a family out of men who should have been mortal enemies. The adventure continues. Philip from Bethsaida, practical and down to earth. Jesus says, follow me. Faced with 5,000, Philip said, 8 months' wages wouldn't buy enough bread. Philip tells Nathanael. He scoffs. Nazareth! Can anything good come from there? Philip replies, come and see. Jesus says, here is a true Israelite. I saw you under the fig tree. Then, Thomas, branded, doubting Thomas but fiercely loyal, let us also go that we may die with him. After the resurrection he said, unless I see the nail marks I will not believe. Jesus answers, put your finger here, stop doubting and believe. Thomas declares, my Lord and my God. Thomas shows questions can lead to unshakable faith, not blind belief, but proven reality. Every crew has the quiet guys, James, son of Alphaeus, James the Less, the younger. We don't have many of his words. He wasn't in the inner circle, but he was chosen. He was there. He saw the miracles. He heard the teachings. You don't have to be the loudest to be important. Then there's Thaddeus, also called Jude, son of James, another quiet apostle with one recorded question.
But Lord, why show yourself to us and not to the world?
He listened intently, trying to reconcile divine plan with human logic. The quiet ones, observers, questioners, just as essential as the loud leaders. No legendary crew is complete without tragedy. Judas Iscariot, chosen like the others. He walked the same roads, ate the same meals, witnessed the same miracles, and kept the money bag. Greed, disillusionment, perhaps expecting a political king. Something went terribly wrong inside. At the Last Supper, Jesus announces betrayal, hands Judas bread and says, what you are about to do, do quickly. Judas steps into the night and betrays for 30 pieces of silver, the price of a slave. He throws the silver back, consumed by despair. Peter denied too, but found grace. Judas is a warning of friendship corrupted by greed and disillusionment. For 3 years the apostles were in training, the most unconventional apprenticeship imaginable. They argued, misunderstood, feared, flawed students like us. Then the crucifixion. They scattered in fear, hiding behind locked doors. But then came the resurrection. Jesus appeared, stood among them, showed his hands and side. Before he ascended, he gave the Great Commission, go and make disciples of all nations. The apprentices were now the masters, the followers, the leaders. Once Jesus was gone, the real work began. No headquarters, no budget, just a story, a conviction, and the Holy Spirit. At Pentecost, tongues of fire, timid men filled with boldness. Peter speaks, 3,000 joined that day. They were arrested, imprisoned, flogged, ridiculed, ordered to be silent. They replied, "Which is right, to listen to you or to him? As for us, we cannot help speaking about what we have seen and heard." Tradition says Andrew to Greece and Scythia, Thomas to India, Bartholomew to Armenia, Simon the Zealot and Thaddeus to Persia, pioneers planting seeds in hostile lands. What's the takeaway? Their story is our story. Ordinary people with flaws and fears called to do extraordinary things. They weren't superheroes, just regular guys who answered an incredible call. Friendship forged on Galilee's roads and tested by fire became a foundation that reshaped history. Their legacy isn't in monuments or power, but in lives changed across centuries. Churches, hospitals, charities. Peter's brashness, Thomas's doubt, Matthew's transformation, timeless courage, redemption, the messy reality of faith. In the end, the story of the 12 apostles is the ultimate adventure, leaving safety to follow a call, a friendship strong enough to face betrayal, death, and doubt. A job so dirty and dangerous it cost most of them their lives, and so important its impact is still felt today. And that's a story worth telling.